All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block and Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. When you mention a national championship to members of this podcast, we will now ask you to clarify which one. I am Jared Stormer of the Block and Podcast Network and MaizenBrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey, you glorious and robust Turkish gymnast. How you feeling?
I felt a little bit better just because the celebration last night's still lingering some.
Yeah.
But that means I'm feeling the best that I can be because last night, brother, was an all-timer, a once-in-a-lifetime.
I'm wearing shades because we're in celebration mode, but also to hide what happened last night after Michigan won the men's national championship 2025-2026 national champions, Michigan men's basketball. Feels worth mentioning. I think we'll probably do a small blurb about that on this podcast. But man, what a night that it was. So excited to be here talking ball with you, my friend. I was getting emotional last night. Like I was sending some texts just like, I love you guys. Nowhere else I'd rather be. And I don't regret any of it.
Well, to me, Tony wasn't with us when we covered the football national championship, and there were tears. You and I were on the phone till like 3 a.m. Like, when this celebration's over, we're getting an apartment together.
I think we should move in together. Maybe calm down.
Let's
the next couple plays out.
Talk about this in the morning, see where we go from there.
I'm already on Zillow. Too late. Man, can't wait to talk about the game. Let's touch the banner, get through that really quickly because I can't wait to talk about all angles, not only of the national championship game, but just about this team. So let's touch the banner here. Couple news stories that dropped since we last spoke. Quarterback Colin Hurley, the transfer former 5-star, has departed the program. His tenure lasted about as long as the Confederacy, about as long as Lindsay Lohan's run as the major actress in Hollywood. So sorry to see you go, I guess. Any chance this is due to Tommy Carr stepping ahead?
I'm perplexed by this, man. What is the strategy? There's no spring transfer portal window. So is he, is he going to like enroll to school in the fall and just, I don't know what this is. I don't understand the logistics of it. It makes no sense. Very strange. It seems like a complete miscalculation on his part because you have to expect that you're here to compete for number 2. Obviously behind Bryce Underwood. And although Carr is doing what he's doing now, it's a little unexpected. The Colorado State transfer is still coming in. So you knew there was going to be a battle. It wasn't just going to be handed to you. I mean, this is baffling to just wave the white flag this early.
We don't really know what happened. Just says he departed the program. Was that something was that disciplinary? Was it academic? It'd be too early to be academic, right? Like,
seemed like
you haven't even had time to get your grades in, let alone try and get your grades up. So it is baffling. Seems like a wasted year. Don't know if I understand the strategy from Mr. Hurley there.
No, but we have Tommy Carr, dude. We're fun.
Yeah, no, we ride. Also out of the program now, Tristan Dare, 3-star guard out of Texas, has decommitted from the program. Some of these things were going to happen when you bring in a new staff. It's not one of the major recruits. So, just worth touching on here. But I think with some of the guys, probably, different vision for what the offense could be, any number of reasons why he would have moved on, but wishing him the best.
Yeah. New offensive line coach. This is expected.
Yes. Since we last spoke, the women's basketball team has been ousted. Tough loss to Texas. Wasn't really close. About what we expected, actually exactly what we expected. I think this is where we predicted the run to end, but wanted to hear your final thoughts on this women's season.
It's only the beginning, man. This team once again took another step. They're just setting themselves up for real success these next 2 years. Like, this was a massive step forward, tied the program's best finish, tied the program win record, but they either tied or set the program win record. I'm not sure, but tied the best finish, reaching the Elite Eight again. So fantastic year. And again, the core of this team is still built around 4 sophomores. Like, this is invaluable experience. They got blown off the court by Texas, who was the better team, but they're still trying to get there. And then as Texas found out in the next round, there's still another level to get to. And then tough loss against UCLA in the Final Four. Michigan's close, man. They're closing the gap. They can get there. I think with another year of seasoning, UCLA will be a little bit down next year. There'll be some more openings in the Big Ten. Still going to be tough, but I expect them to take another step, add some key pieces, get some size. Audie Crooks leaving Iowa State. Someone put her in the middle there, second leading scorer in the country this past season. So you put her in the middle. You put her in the middle and you space the floor around her. That's how this team can be really deadly when you have the shooting that Michigan does.
Yeah, the guard play. So, I think next year will be all eyes on Michigan women's basketball. It's going to be a very exciting team. Still alive. Could this be a twofer? 2 national championships in the space of a week. Michigan men's hockey Cook.
We got Denver on Thursday. Same team that eliminated us in 2022 when we had the best team talent-wise that we've ever had at Michigan. But Michigan's ready to do it, man. They have, I think we have a superior skating matchup. We have a depth matchup. What worries me about Denver is that they might have the two best players on the ice at all times, technically, with their number one D man leads the team in scoring, which is very rare in college hockey, dynamic on both ends of the ice, and their goaltender, Johnny Hicks. This is a weird Denver team. So to give you a little perspective, this team was 12-10 in early February, late January, kind of lost their way a little bit. They've lost 6 games in a row, 7 of 8. That's not like a team you'd expect to be in the Frozen Four. Then they made the full-time switch to Johnny Hicks in net, and they haven't lost since. He has a 9.58 save percentage on the season. He is an absolute brick wall, but not unbeatable. I mean, although he has been this season, but when you put 30 shots on net or more, you can get it. You can get to this team a little bit. So it's happened 4 times since he's taken over. One game went to overtime, one went to double OT, one went to a shootout, and the other one was against Omaha, so it didn't really count. But the rest of those teams, that's the recipe for this team against Denver, man. You got to pepper Hicks with shots. You got to wear him down. You got to get some ugly goals. Michigan has the depth to do it. But can they overcome the star power, the coaching of David Carl, and just kind of the demons of taking down Denver, who's been the team of the decade so far with 2 national championships and 2 additional Frozen Fours? If they can overcome that, man, they can beat anybody in this tournament.
Wild. I can't really think of a precedent. Like, imagine if somebody like, say, UConn just changed point guards right before the NCAA tournament and then just went on a run. Like, you don't hear about that. Change quarterback and then they go on a run right before, the tournament like that. Pretty rare, but yeah, that'll be a real test. And if they win, they will then play for the national title on Saturday. So Thursday, all eyes on Michigan hockey. Let's do it. Let's complete the winter sports sweep. And then when we talk about national championships, you'll really have to clarify. You'll have to pick the sport, the year. This has got a chance to be an all-timer. Not a bad program we chose to root for.
It's really starting to pay off. And again, I was telling people today, like, fans that came along during the early 2020s, this has been a wonderful period to be you, because you and I sat through 10 years of losing to Ohio State, the basketball program, and the Tommy Amaker days, and everything in between. Hockey team going to a little bit of obscurity post 2011. So to have all of this clicking at the same time, not to mention the women in KBA fully formed, truly the good times.
I really want someone to call one of us at some point a fair weather fan and just be like, I would love nothing more. Just like, do you realize what we've podcasted through? Like, we've podcasted through multiple scandals, 8-win basketball seasons, the 2020 football campaign, the 2019 loss to Ohio State. Like, we have
2018
been there.
loss to Ohio State.
Take your pick. We have been there through horrid times. So you appreciate it when you get to the mountaintop. That's for sure.
So, I mean, I have scars from games I haven't even seen yet. Like, I haven't got over the Mike Lantry missed kicks from 73 and 74. I've been about this.
Honey, what is it? Why can't you sleep? Mike Landry. Mike Landry.
Oh, 73, we got screwed. We did get screwed, but yes.
I love it. Let's talk about something a little bit more prescient, shall we? Shall we talk some basketball? Do you have that in your heart?
I have some thoughts.
I, too, have some thoughts. After a 69-63 win, Michigan Wolverines beat the UConn Huskies. They are your national champions. And I don't even know where to start. Like, it's very difficult to put into words what it feels like. I will start here. More elated now or 2023 football national championship?
It's still football. It's still football. It's apples and oranges, though, because like if basketball is your flavor, this is going to feel more important. I mean, but if football is your flavor, like it is for a lot of Michigan fans, it's going to feel that way. But this felt better than what 2018 would have felt like. Just because similar to the football team, when you had 2020 so closely in the rear view and some painful losses, we still remember 2 years ago and that 8-24 season, how terrible it was. And having those scars make this feel so much sweeter.
Also, just the amount of games that you get to watch on a run like this, watching, and like each game has its own flavor. Maybe not so much for this because we just dominated everyone. Really, the UConn game is the only one that had a different flavor because it was lower scoring. This was a tight contest, but you get to enjoy the ride of this more. And it's like, oh, all right, who we got this week? And you kind of settle into these tournament games. It was a ton of fun. This now is my favorite basketball team of all time, full stop, which was a difficult, I didn't know that they'd get there, say what you will about the transfers, but I like guys that have been with the program for a while, but these guys have completely won me over. We're going to talk about every single one of them in this podcast, but it's the best Michigan basketball team of all time. That may have been settled few weeks ago. Now,
Mhm.
the real question is, and this is an actual discussion, this is not hyperbole, is it the greatest basketball team to ever play at the college level? It's probably not, but it's a conversation, and you'd have to bring them up when you're naming the best. You would have to at least throw their name into the hat.
And according to Ken Palm, they're the second best team ever, only behind 99 Duke. So right there in the thick of the conversation. And I think one of the best selling points for this team is not the national championship win over UConn, which is obviously important for it. The dominating win over Arizona, which coming into that game were number 3 and 4 all time in Ken Palm rankings coming in. And Michigan doing what they did to them, as Brian Russillo put it, just took their soul that no one expected them to do it that way. And they did it without their best player playing the majority of the game. That's like, one of the best arguments you're going to get from any of these teams.
On that 1999 Duke team, Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, Shane Battier, and how about current Pistons GM Trajan Langdon? All
Good
right.
God, I didn't know he was there.
I didn't know he was
And they
there
didn't
either.
even
Averaged
win the
like
title that
17.
year. They didn't even win the title that year, did they? Wasn't it UConn in 99?
Yeah, so I mean, Michigan has a real case for it. I mean, you might go with the 68-69 UCLA Bruins because they had Lou Alcindor.
It's a good one to go to.
Not a bad place to go, but it's a real conversation, man. The size, the maturity, the depth, the fact that LJ Kaysen goes out and Trey McKinney just elevates his game. Can't wait to talk about that. The growth you saw from Cadeau in season, obviously much better player this year than he was at North Carolina, used correctly at Michigan, I
Correctly.
think, as opposed to at North Carolina. Yaxel Lendenborg went from being a center to being a full-time three and playing like LeBron James out there. It's got a real argument, man. It's the best that we've ever seen. Put this team up against the Fab Five. I will take this team against the Fab Five.
Yeah, because Dusty May didn't assemble a roster. He assembled a team. And I think there's a hard differentiation there that you can see. This team is so unselfish. And sometimes to a fault, you could want a little bit more from Yaxel Lindenborg, but that also empowered so many players to step up in key moments and be able to take over. So they had so many leading scorers at different times this season. And I think that really helped mitigate the losses of injuries down the stretch.
Yeah, it's a team where on any given night, a lot of different guys could be the best player.
Yes.
It was mostly Yaxel pretty much any night, but there could be Mara games where it's like, my goodness, Adai Mara, 22 points on, 78% shooting and 2 blocks. Whereas Johnson had the perfect game in the tournament where he was definitely the best player. Elliot Cadeau wins the most outstanding player in the championship game, deservedly so. And, that's not to mention guys like Trey McKinney, April and March Roddy, who had some outstanding performances as well. It was truly a team, whereas the Fab Five probably, and this is not to disparage the Fab Five,
No.
that's more just a compilation of really insane talent. This is a team that clearly worked together. Everything was very intentional, knowing that you could move Yaxel to 3 and that would still work because of the shooting and the passing of Mara. Incredible stuff. Dusty May etches his name into the legends list at Michigan in only year 2, which is insane stuff.
I mean, you didn't even mention there Namari Burnett, who has the highest scoring output in a single game this season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Namari Burnett was just a holdover from the 8-win team as
Yep.
well.
Yeah. So it's a holdover just like Cheddar in that, and just speaks to the depth, the camaraderie of the group. And it's so impressive too, because similar to the Fab Five, where it's like you got 2 years with the main group there, but like with this one, it's year one of like so many of these guys together. So it felt so fresh and it was so easy to get invested in them and like slowly learn more about each player and like, oh, I like this about Merez. Oh, with Mara, there might be more there. But with Yaxel, like didn't have back-to-back 20-point games this season until the tournament. Having that kind of selfishness from your star, the story, like the anecdotes about Roddy Gale buying a UAB jersey and wearing it and just giving him the warm welcome that he received coming from Ohio State, really paying it forward. And you could just see it throughout the team, man. All the little stuff you learned about him. It was so easy to get invested in. Cadeau taking McKinney under his wing and like helping him develop and come along, giving him confidence to take the shots that he took in this game that we're going to talk about, to feel empowered to do that. And that's how you win the championship.
The vibes were incredibly high. It's an incredibly likable team. The staring at the camera bit, just the Dusty May video that came out, what was it, last week sometime, of him in the huddle being like, "Look, we can't all get a shot up. We gotta get a good shot up.
Yes.
Take a breath." And then he's smiling and he's light with the group. He's like, "Yeah, this is important, but like, let's keep it light, guys." Insanely likable. It's gonna be my favorite team for who knows how long until the next natty, at least. But when you watch a championship that's special, that's something that you'll remember. So many sequences, not only just from last night, but from the season that I'm going to remember and look back on fondly. Can't wait to talk about one particular sequence from last night's game. So let's get into the game itself. As we mentioned, 69-63. UConn hard to kill. Credit to them,
Yeah.
man. Like you think you got your foot on the throat and then they just wrestle themselves up off of the mat. The bank shot from ball late and you're like, really, are we going to get another Duke in this one? But Michigan hits their free throws. How cathartic that it's free throws that maybe ultimately win this. They're 25 of 28 from the free throw line in this one. And then UConn only 12 of 16. So getting to the free throw line, hitting their free throws was absolutely huge because they certainly couldn't hit a three. 2 of 15 from three. Elliot Cadeau, most outstanding player, leads the team with 19 points. He was 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and did he have a block? He did not have a block, but man, were those steals big. He was all over. My comp for him after this game was Jalen Brunson because of the way he can get into the lane and use angles and use his offhand to get shots. Incredible stuff from Cadeau, man. Where do you want to start on this game?
Let's start in the first half because if I told you that this team was going to go 0 of 8 from 3, McKinney was going to be 0 of 5, and that Yaxel wasn't going to get his first bucket until the 3:08 mark, what was your prediction been for the score?
I think that we would have lost a close one. I mean, because I trust our defense. I was like, oh no, exactly what UConn wanted is what I would have said. Be like, that sounds like a UConn kind of first half.
Yeah. And like if I told you they hit 5 threes, conversely to our 0 in that first half, you'd be like, oh, we're losing by 10 or 15 right now. But Michigan led by 4 despite those numbers. That's when I felt confident they were going to win because they could not play this bad on the offensive end for the entire second half. Just too much depth, too much talent to kick in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I were not really worried, even though we were playing the UConn's game. We were like, okay, Dusty May second half adjustment. But there was that little nagging thought in the back of your mind, like, who else is a good coach? Dan Hurley. Like, so there's going to be some adjustments on their side. Couldn't hit anything in the first half. Clearly, Yaxel Lendenborg was laboring basically on one leg out there. He said as much at the break there. And, there could have been some nerves as well, but also tired legs. This is deep into the season. We just played 2 days ago. This is the maximum amount of games you can play as a college basketball team because we went to the Big Ten championship game as well. Maximum amount of games that you can play in a season. So it'd be understandable if there were some tired legs, but they really overcame it. I thought the intensity ratcheted up in the second half, particularly on the defensive side of the ball.
There was an interesting stat, not really stat, more of just a note pointed out from teams that had played Arizona this year. It was like the Honolulu flu from teams that would play the Lions and lose the next game. A lot of teams struggled to bounce back after playing Arizona this year because of the physicality and everything, the toll it kind of takes on your body. I think you saw a little bit of that. That's how you saw UConn get the advantage on the board to be able to crash, send 5 guys down there to get rebounds and still be able to get back and really slow down the transition game. I think it spoke to that. They've been there before. They understand the conditioning, what it takes. And we saw Michigan wear down at times in the front court throughout the season. We really saw it with Morez Johnson in the Big Ten tournament. It was discussed how tired he was from the back-to-backs and everything going on there. So they had to adjust. They had to really buckle down and find an answer. And in the second half, they found enough. Never trailed in the second half of this game.
Absolutely. Yeah. The going back to the first half there with the shots not dropping, I think that getting UConn in foul trouble early, particularly their guards, kept us in it early because we just couldn't manufacture any baskets. And a lot of people complaining like, man, they're getting so many more foul calls. Go look at the stats for Michigan versus UConn stats or fouls per game. That's kind of UConn's game. It's very similar to Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a lot of fouls because they're playing you so freaking physically. So that's their game. I wasn't surprised that we were winning the foul battle. It's just like how early they came and the fact that they had to put their guards on the bench and Michigan was making their free throws. In
It's
the last two games, Michigan made their free throws.
that argument is so lazy too because UConn was not attacking the paint. They were reluctant to step inside the 3-point line. Hence why they shot over 30 in this game. And a telling stat to me is always in terms of aggression, and how it relates to free throw shooting. So Michigan finished with 36 points in the paint. UConn had 22 at the end. Like that aggression was the difference. Michigan was trying to get downhill, trying to attack the paint. And conversely, looking at the 3-point shots, Michigan attempted 15. UConn attempted 33. You're not going to draw a lot of fouls shooting 33.
No, absolutely. Michigan towards the bottom of fouls per game, around 15 per game. UConn near the top. So this is what they were expecting and why you didn't hear Hurley at the end of the game complaining about that because he kind of knew like this is what we do. We're going to play a Big East game. Like a lot of teams aren't used to the press. It definitely threw Michigan off their offensive rhythm early. But, shout out to Mojo, particularly in that first half, who was playing big and was a source of offense for us early on. I thought that he was huge in that. And then also, how about Roddy with the huge rejection in the first half?
And the
Monster
putback
stuff.
dunk.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
in a very close sequence there. They just again, it was just little timely contributions like that. Like Mara got going late in the first half a little bit, got a couple buckets back to back. You just find them doing the little gritty stuff. Again, Yaxel didn't make his first bucket until 3:08. But then he found a way to impact the game. The shot wasn't falling. The legs are dead. All right, let me get in the paint. Let's run a little high-low. Let's get an easy point here. Just finding ways to contribute. And I texted you this at halftime, similar with Trey McKinney. He didn't score in the first half, but he had 5 rebounds, which was second on the team. And he finished second on the team in rebounding for the game. So finding ways to contribute, even when your shot isn't falling, can really help a team and turn defense into good offense.
And driving into that morass and driving into Terrace Reed, despite having one leg and drawing fouls, getting a putback in there that I think was big. That might have been in the second half.
Yeah, dirty points. It's like dirty goals in hockey. Dirty points. Like they're not pretty. They're not going to make highlight reels, but that's how you win the games, is getting these little hidden wins, so to speak.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything pretty about any of this game, to be honest. There's a couple moments that I want to call out. So as we go to the second half here, one of the moments that I thought really changed the complexion of the game, I forget when this was at, but there was a 4-point trip down the floor with the hook and hold from Caravan.
Yes.
And Michigan gets both free throws, gets the ball back, and then gets 4. And I think we go up 4 or 5 at that point and never relinquish the lead after that. Massive sequence there.
That might have been in the first half. Was that
it might be in the first half?
Yeah, it was late in the first half. I think we were down 2, and then we tied the game, took the lead, and never trailed after that, I believe. So really swung the momentum. The right call too. I mean, it was blatantly a hook and hold.
Clearly a hook and hold,
in the situation. But yeah, and that carried over into the second half when Michigan quickly ballooned the lead up to 11, got the pace back on their terms, similar to the Alabama game, but the opposite, where it was so fast in the first half, too fast, and Michigan put the governor on the engine a little bit in the second. In this game, they really took off. They made an effort to run. They forced a couple extra turnovers because that's what they want to live with. They want to play high possession games. UConn really struggled to keep up with that pace, but although that tether was stretching between the two teams, it never broke.
No, absolutely. Tension was high in the first half. Tension in the second half, of course, in a close game was almost enough to kill me. I thought I was going to have both my first and second heart attacks in the second half there. So come out, little bit of a back and forth, but you can feel Michigan in the second half start to assert their dominance, start to play a little bit more their style of game. Now, it really helps that UConn, and we may have been fortunate here, could not hit a shot.
Yep.
Really, I mean, they got a lot of shots up. They were winning I think they ended up winning the offensive rebounding game.
They won the total rebounding game.
Yeah, they won the total rebounding game. They were turning us over. Now, luckily, we were turning them over as well, but we got really fortunate that Mullins and Ball could not hit a thing until late in this one.
Yeah. I mean, they were forcing them up there. Michigan was doing a good job of not giving them clean looks, for the most part. They were getting out there. They were running at them. Say what you will about the rims. There was something weird with that one rim in Indianapolis because Michigan started 0 of 8 in the first half on that rim. And in the second half, UConn was over their first 9 until they got it going. So there was a curse, a hex, or something on it, but they did a good job of fighting through screens, mixing up coverages, giving them different looks, switching, not switching, protecting a Daimara in the paint. because when they kept him in the paint and avoided him from some of those switches on the perimeter, it really deterred any drives from UConn and made them keep settling for threes late in the shot clock. And then again in the second half, when they could speed him up a little bit, just rush a bad shot, Michigan would get it and be on the run. It was the offensive glass, though, of UConn's effort there, which really turned the tide a little bit in the second half for them to keep it close.
Yeah, it's a great call up by you. I think Rafferty actually mentioned that rim at one point.
How
Like something
good
going
was
on there.
Rafferty in
I
that?
was just gonna make this aside. He's 105 years old and he's awesome.
He's throwing 1,000 miles an hour still. He is like the best in the business. And like it cuts to him and it's like, I'm just glad you're still with us. But he was incredible last night. Like he's just
awesome.
so everything he was saying was spot on the point. He'd make a point about UConn. I'm like, hate how accurate that is. Stop making sense. Like that's the gold standard, man. Gold standard has not lost a mile per hour off his fastball. It's only gotten better.
No, he's amazing. The one thing we missed is we should have gotten the Onions call for the McKinney shot. I was going to get there.
That's a good point.
We needed that.
I was Iron Eagle, but the hail to the champions call at the end of the game was Chef's kiss. That was so
Chef's kiss from them. That's a good place. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, a lot more that I want to get into on this one. Obviously, we're talking national championship basketball, baby. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. College basketball is very good, better for some than others, including us. We are truly living the dream. Producer Tony, shout out to him during the break, sent us a list of all of the KenPom top 30 teams. Michigan beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of the top 30 teams in KenPom, most of them by double digits. I think I'm starting to harden on the stance. I think we should just start pushing it, and it should start here. This is the greatest basketball team of all time.
12 of the top 25, 2 in the top 5, 5 in the top 10. I mean, it just gets more and more absurd. Like the closer you look at the numbers, I'm fine with this. Why beat around the bush? 99 Duke team didn't even win the title. Couldn't get the job done when it mattered the most.
I'm gonna beat something, but it ain't around the bush. I'll tell you that. Looking at this, I'm enjoying myself.
even the stat, just speaking to the overall tournament, Michigan beat 3 of the 4 Final Four teams, beat 6 of the 7 Elite 8 teams, beat 9 of the 15 Sweet 16 teams. Like the resume is pretty unassailable.
It's unassailable, man. And how great is it that not only do we have 2 natties to talk about, but the football natty was flawless. 0 losses.
0.
And then this basketball natty is as close as you're going to get to no losses. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see a team run the gauntlet again in college basketball. I mean, maybe if America exists for another 300 years, you might get it, but it seems impossible. This is as close as you're going to get to undefeated.
Yeah. And I love that. Again, we still haven't finished discussing this game, but it came through UConn, the team of the moment, team of the decade so far, who has won 2 of the last 4 national titles now and has only lost now twice in the last 4 tournaments by just in narrow margins. Like such a hard team to beat when it matters the most, and having to go through them makes it that much sweeter.
I'm with you, man. All right, let's keep talking about this game. So we were mostly talking first half. So we come out in the second half in this one, and it becomes the Elliot Cadeau show. I think we've talked about him a little bit, but I was mentioning to you off air, and maybe it came through on the podcast early on. I was not sold on Elliot Cadeau. When we got that pickup, I was like, really? Like a shot chucker that's not an initiator? Like he's undersized. I like bigger guards. Couldn't rely on his 3-pointer. I'm so happy to be wrong. And not only was I wrong, I came all the way around. He ended the season as one of my favorite players. I love his competitiveness. If we're ranking best moments of the tournament, the it's over against Alabama will certainly be there, something that we're going to discuss here in a little bit. It really was him, and knowing that Yaxel Lendenborg couldn't be counted on for creation, him taking up the mantle in the second half was huge.
Yeah, I mean, he came out of the gates aggressive, like with some and ones early on. We should also start counting and ones as like 3-point stats for this team, because I think they had 4 in this game alone to just get it the hard way. But in the second half, man, he just stayed so aggressive despite having the fouls. He was so smart the way he would get into the lanes. And I just don't understand in UConn's scout, you can't leave your hand out in front of Cadeau and try to guard him that way. He's going to rip through every time. Like that's 101. And it just kept happening. And they just kept picking up these dumb fouls, and he just kept stealing it and baiting him into it. And he plays with such an infectious energy. You can feel the emotional tone that he sets for this team that a former coach, I'm not going to mention his name, had a quote that I liked that like you want the guys to play with emotion but not be emotional. And I think that's Elliot Cadeau in spades.
It really is, man. Quick hands on defense does like something that Asar Thompson does. Now, obviously, that's not the comp. He is not
Yeah,
Asar
but
Thompson on
most people think
defense.
small guards are just defensive liabilities. Like that's
He is
kind of like
not.
it's kind of an adage, and he's not at all.
He's not. He stays in front of you, uses all of his body weight
Yep.
to try and defend you and try and stop you from getting into the lane, the quick hands, an extremely crafty veteran. Like that's what I have written in my notes multiple times, crafty, savvy, things like this in the way that he can draw fouls. Probably annoys some people, but with how hard UConn was playing, this was an effing war in the second half. Like I don't know. There's maybe one or two fouls you probably could have picked up, kept the whistle in your pocket, but for the most part, they were all legitimate fouls. And Elliot Cadeau does such a good job of baiting their best players into it. I mean, look at what happened with Bradley, and then he does it again against UConn and their excellent guards. Like, I don't have enough words in my vocabulary to describe how much I love Elliot Cadeau. I might just have a son and name it Elliot Cadeau Stormer.
Does this team at all remind you of the 2019 Raptors, where it's like you have the mercenary mentality with a Kawhi Leonard,
Oh, yeah,
to a
yeah.
Axel Lindenberg, both sides, or you have a Kyle Lowry at point guard who's kind of like an Elliot Cadeau, kind of a shit stirrer on both ends of the court. Then you have the versatile pieces that you can move up and down. You also have Marc Gasol in the middle of the court, very similar to like having an Adai Mar to protect the rim. So it's like you can see a roster construction very similarly if you squint at it. And it's like you have those guys each playing a certain role and that it's needed. And like with that Raptors team, obviously Kawhi Leonard's the big time, the shot maker, the all-star, the all-NBA player. But Kyle Lowry at point guard was so important for that team. And very much like Elliot Cadeau.
Yeah, no, I like this comp a lot, actually. Also, Serge Ibaka on that team. That's a pretty easy mojo comp there.
Yeah.
For the guy, yeah, that you can either play at the 5 or at the 4 if need be. I love this. I love this comp. There's no OG Anunoby, but maybe that's like Gale plus Burnett is your
Yeah.
OG. Because, I mean, the combination of those two
Or it's like his
was
OG, like
huge.
a bigger Roddy Gale.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Roddy Gale in this one, while you mention it, probably worth discussing. I thought that Roddy Gale was huge in this one. So Roddy Gale, March Roddy, April Roddy, a very real thing, man. I was expecting a little bit more in this one because shots weren't falling. And you're like, okay, who's it going to be? You start thinking this is Roddy's time. Only 4 points in this one of 4, but 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks, one of them very emphatic. So Roddy Gale, I still think, despite the box score not looking great, was good in this one. No, that's a really good comp, man. That's a really good comp.
I knew I was taking the plane off and you were like, all right, where are you going with this, man? Where are you going? I'm in the air. And then you're like, okay, we're settling in. No more turbulence. And then we landed it. So I was glad you could stick with me on that one. It took a little bit to get there. But yeah, back to the second half of this game. Like you could feel the tether stretching, but Michigan UConn would never die. Michigan couldn't put them away. They kept fighting back. And now it's time to talk about the sequence.
The sequence. I think that's what we'll call it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this needs a name, and I think it's just the sequence. So, what is it? 50 left or around the 2-minute mark, you get a turnover on the Michigan side. UConn runs it down. I can't tell if it was blocked or if it was just a missed layup on their end. Michigan pushes it back down. Roddy Gale does turn it over. No, so excuse me, I got it out of order. There's the Roddy Gale turnover at half court. Then they miss. I think Mojo got a piece of it or it was blocked, partially blocked. They come down and it's frenetic pace. Okay, you get a move ahead. Roddy Gale almost turns it over. Whereas Johnson almost turns it over, kicking the outlet back to Roddy Gale. Roddy Gale passes out to Trey McKinney. That's almost picked off. We're talking centimeters on all these passes. And then McKinney steps back, NBA move to step back. He's got that step back absolutely locked down, hits the 3, and we go up, what was it, 65 to, I think that took us 65, 56 with that shot, something like that.
It was a little bigger. I think it was 9 at that point. I think it was like 67, 56. I think or that was 11. Like it was right around there. But yeah, dude, even before that, you forgot to mention Terrace Reed diving for the ball before it goes out of bounds, saving it just a fraction away from the sidelines, gets it to a player. You just think UConn's going to lay it up and that's going to be the one shining moment. You can already see it coming. And it's Trey McKinney that gets up there and gets a piece of it because he's the last one down the court to set up for that shot after making the defensive play. So just like we talked about in the first half, shots not falling. How do you get it going? You get it going on the other end of the court. That's what he did. comes down there, gets it, like you said, centimeters away on the pass and hits the biggest shot of the season.
It's a 5-point swing in a 7-point game, 2 minutes left, and we saw what UConn was able to do against Duke. So we never felt great about this one. Like, we're waiting for that moment to text the group and be like, start celebrating, boys. We kept waiting and waiting. And even after the McKinney shot, that was the first moment you're like, okay, I think we're going to win this, but you couldn't quite put it away there. But that's the moment of the game. That is what we will
Yep.
be remembered. That's the Blake Corum in overtime against Alabama in the Rose Bowl moment. Or maybe the better comp would be the JJ McCarthy avoiding the sack and hitting Roman Wilson moment. Maybe that's because of the frenetic nature of it and like
Yeah.
how close we were to disaster.
It's
I think that's actually the better comp.
I love that the Michigan Athletics tweeted out saying the Mikey Sainristil interception with it against
Yeah,
Washington. Because like it
it's a
just
good
kind
call
of
too.
iced it. You still have the solo ball shot towards the end there, but that was the one when you're doing the math in your head. You're like, I think we got it. I think we got it. And obviously things play out. Solo ball banks in the three, gets a little sketchy for a moment. But the play I want to talk about before we leave in this game is just I love the final play of the game. Of UConn goes to score really quick and Roddy Gale gets the rebound and just chucks it down the court. That is such a high IQ play because UConn has to rush down to get it because the clock is running. He doesn't put enough mustard on it so it goes all the way down the other end and goes out of bounds. But Caravan picks that ball up 2 feet from the baseline and time expired before you get back to half court. I just thought that was such a heady, smart play by this team that epitomized the whole season. Like the game was, for all intents and purposes, over at that point. But that put a stamp on it. It was done. It was over with. No more free throws. No more anything. The clock ran out. You see so few teams do it. I just thought it was such a smart play to cap the win.
Yeah, and having seen what happened against Duke, you had to imagine that they practiced this. So shout out to Dusty May there as well. But man, the whole second half was absolutely frenetic pace, a total war. Guys out there battling for every single inch, man. Huge step back from Trey McKinney as well. Another NBA type of shot. He was incredible. Go ahead and put him in pen as my favorite player on next year's team.
More than
Uh,
Cadeau?
it, Cadeau has entered the conversation, that's for sure. But I'm always going to take the guys we recruited a little bit more. And Cadeau might do enough. We'll see. It'll be a fun battle. It'll be
I
a fun
love what
battle next
there's
year.
nothing like watching one of us argue with themselves.
I am arguing with myself right now because I mean, if Mojo comes back, I might be like, oh, well, I got to rethink this.
It just that's where you start going, man. And like again, everything in the second half, 20 straight free throw makes for a team that was struggling from the free throw line entering the Final Four weekend of the NCAA tournament. We talked about it like some like nitpicks against Tennessee and Alabama, like gotta make free throws. We need those at the Final Four, and they had them in both games. I don't know if I've ever seen 20 straight from a Michigan team in my lifetime.
No, I don't know either, man. And it had been a problem all year. So shout out to this team against Arizona as well. They were excellent from a free throw line. I did have a note here that late foul call against Cadeau was probably one of the two fouls that I would have kept the whistle in my pocket because you were almost like there's a weird part of me that was like, this deserves the classic ending. Like that UConn deserves a chance to go to like at least do some heroics here. That foul call pretty much iced it. Didn't love that foul call again. It was Cadeau and maybe Solo Ball. Also
Yeah.
the best basketball name ever put to the court. That's insane. I wish he was a little better.
Yeah, there was some weird whistles in the final 2 minutes of this thing, but I loved after the fact. You speak into just finding a way like the '99 Duke team just couldn't get it done when it mattered the most. Michigan without their best player being on one leg in this game. No team has ever won an NCAA tournament game scoring under 70 points, shooting under 40% from the field, under 15% from three, and
Jesus.
being out rebounded. Except for your national champions.
God bless it all. Michigan Wolverines 2025, 2026. National champions. The nets are down. The rings are being engraved as we speak. All of these guys get a ring. So when Michigan football won the 2023 national championship, we talked about honorary rings. We were like, Aiden Hutchinson gets an honorary ring. There's some guys that we wanted to call out, like, without you, we don't have this. I have one nomination and a couple maybe honorable mentions. I think John Beilein gets a ring. I think John Beilein gets the honorary ring. This doesn't happen without Beilein bringing this program back from the depths. And look, I know Juwan Howard basically undid all of his great work, but Beilein never left, man. Beilein sticks around the program. He's a big part of it. And I mean, just a class act. I think honorary ring John Beeline. Anybody that you would like to nominate for that?
Absolutely. I have several nominees, actually. How about Vlad Golden, Danny Wolf, Trey Donaldson,
Mm-hmm.
Reuben Jones, because they sold proof of concept. Maybe it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
easier to sell this to this new team because you've seen it with these guys. Hey, I know how to manage two bigs. Don't worry that all three of you have played the five at your previous stops. I can figure it out. Look what I just did with Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. Look what I've done with taking Reuben Jones from playing in the slowest pace system in the country at North Texas to playing in the fastest at Michigan. I can help take all of your skill sets, making them more malleable and put them together, and we can make a run. I think everybody from that first year of Dusty May has to get a ring.
Jace Howard stuck around, even though he wasn't very good, but I mean,
He
bought
was
into
here,
the new
man.
program, but he was there, give Jace
Like,
Howard an honorary ring.
I'm always a sucker for the first team to turn it around, kind of like the 2021 Michigan team turned it around from 2020. Like, always a sucker for the foundation.
I'm with you, man. All right. So Michigan is the first D1 school ever to win multiple national championships in football, baseball, and basketball.
And
So
hockey,
add
for that
that
matter.
there. And hockey with a chance to add another national championship within the same year. There could be some more accolades coming. The After the game celebration, shout out to you, Ann Arbor. I would have given my kidney to be in Ann Arbor last night. Fireworks going off. I love that they're going off in a downtown, like rural area with apartment buildings. So, like, the actual shrapnel of the fireworks is just hitting people's apartment windows. If
That's how
you're
we
a
do it.
non-sports fan, you're probably like, what in God's name is happening? Is this Fallujah? I love it. Well done by Ann Arbor.
It was the appropriate celebration, man. It felt like, again, I loved just the familial aspect, not just with the fan base, but with all the former teams. Cause like it's so easy for generations to hate on each other and do this. And we're asking Jalen Rose, trying to get something provocative about being the best Michigan team ever. And all he said was, this team has a chance. Like they win it all. Like they're right in that argument with the 89 team. Like not playing one against another. It wasn't this or that. It's like they're in there now. And you just saw so many people excited for these guys, especially excited for Dusty May, who has taken the long way on the coaching carousel to get to where he is today.
Yeah, man. And I mean, that's not something that Jalen Rose is going to answer, but we are podcasters. That's exactly
That's
something
why we're here.
we would answer. So if you ran 10 games, 1989 team versus this team, I think that this team probably wins 7 of 10. What do you think?
Good number. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think 7 to 10 is very respectable in that, maybe we're prisoners of the moment, but the stats don't lie in this case.
The size, man. The size is
tough to beat.
dramatic of this one.
The
Same with
pace
Fab
too.
5.
Like it's hard for that
Pace.
89 team to imagine the pace because that was a very slower time in basketball, I should say. And to play with this high possession, 3-point shot kind of offense would be very difficult stylistically.
Yeah, and similar with the Fab 5 team, I think that this team would win, again, probably 7 of 10. The Fab 5 just has that talent aspect where if it was like one game, you might pick the Fab 5 to beat anybody in one game because of the talent. But over the course of a season, over several games, again, 7, maybe even 8 of 10. Because like I said, I ran into that guy when I was out wearing my Michigan gear the other day, and he was really critical of the Fab 5 bench. And he was like, the depth is so much better on this Michigan team. I mean, Roddy Gale coming off your bench is awesome. Roddy Gale starts for every program except maybe Arizona, UConn, and Duke. Like,
Yeah.
Roddy Gale's awesome.
Yeah, it's like you still have, like Rob Pelinka and Eric Riley, and it's so funny to say Rob Pelinka.
And Trajan Langdon, all these guys were mentioned.
Rob Pelinka did shoot 40% from three that year. Like
Trajan Langdon averaged 17 points. So, yeah, you could be my GM.
There were some guys there like do it, but yeah, not the depth, not to where you're getting down to like, hey, Will Cheddar shot close to 40%. He was the ninth man.
Yeah. One Will Cheddar moment. And I don't want the one Will Cheddar mention in this to be a negative one, but maybe pass it off to the best player in America when you have a breakaway 2-on-1 rather than trying to be He-Man there.
Just don't finger roll. Finger rolls are dumb. They're high degree of variance. Just put it up. I understand. He understands how that Yaxel is very limited in that situation. I'm with you though. A one-legged Yaxel in that position. I'm still taking the chances.
Two-legged Cheddar.
Yeah, it's still kind of like that, but no, man. Just for him to be so selfless in like this journey and accept his role and have some key moments. Like Cheddar was one of the people I was honestly the happiest for. Like he and Damari just sticking out, but especially Cheddar because he's been here his entire career.
All right. You ready for some season and tournament awards? I threw this together. I know you're always ready for this sort of thing. I just want to like mix it up, ways to talk about this tournament run and this team. You ready?
Let's do it.
Unsung moment of the year, regular season. Can be a game, can be a moment, can be like a point in time where the season turned. What do you got?
Off the top, I mean, unsung. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say something like the run in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
It's not that's not as much of a turning point. I'm gonna say the Nebraska win. I'm gonna say the Nebraska win because that was an interesting point in the season. Like there had been a few games before that. You had the Penn State game that was way closer than it had any right being. The Wisconsin loss, and they kind of got their rhythm back. But that Nebraska team came in hot as fish grease, one of the best teams in the country, and dominated that game for probably 30 minutes. And Michigan just kept hanging, kept hanging, kept hanging, and then found a way. And I think like having so many blowouts throughout the course of the year and the Penn State game, it is what it is. Michigan knew they were so much more talented, so it's not a 1-to-1. But having a team that can match you, the same style, being an elite team, and know that you can hang on and find a way to win when the pieces aren't going your way, balls aren't bouncing the right direction, but you still get it done. I think that was a big moment for this team.
I like it. I will go with Michigan beating Iowa by 3 late season leading into the tournament. There was never really a moment where we questioned this Michigan team, but that Iowa team was hot, 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 hot. And you get Yaxel, Mojo, and Mara with incredible games. Also in that game, 9 assists from Cadeau. I think that was my proof of concept game. We were just like this size plus Elliot Cadeau. You go in there to Iowa and win it by 3 in a tightly contested game. Yaxel's the best player on the floor, but Mojo, Mara, Cadeau also all show up. I think that really showed what this team could be. And you were like, okay, I have the belief. Doesn't really matter what happens in the Big Ten tournament. I believe this team can win a lot of games and make a deep tournament.
That was also the Roddy Gale game. That was the
Yeah.
finish of like the last 2 possessions for Iowa ended in a Roddy Gale block and a Roddy Gale steal to ice the win.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Yeah. So there's a lot of them. And honestly, like this is the kind of year, much like the 2023 national championship year for football, I'm going to go back and watch games from this
Yeah,
year. Like
ton of games.
for a season like this, I'm going to go back and watch a lot of them. I mean, there's so many, it's a little different for basketball, but also you can just watch the 15-minute replays and kind of get back into what it felt like in that moment. So can't wait to go back and rewatch these. All right. Glue guy of the year. So probably go non-starter here for glue
Roddy
guys.
Gale.
Roddy Gale.
It's
Across the board.
because yeah, McKinney, I mean, he's also off the bench, but he's more of a star potential. Roddy Gale just embracing all the little things. You need blocks, you need steals, you need hustle, you need defense. The way he just stuck to Mullins and Caravan last night and stopped switching, like he did everything for this team just on the margins that they needed to get done.
Yeah, and Burnett, you could possibly classify as a glue guy, but he is a starter.
Yeah.
So, and even still, I would still take Roddy Gale, particularly
Yeah.
for what he did in March and April. So I'm with you there. It's Roddy Gale. All right. The Beef Stew Award for Interior Excellence had to make this category because I think it's a real discussion. Now, numbers wise, I think I know where probably you would go, but I don't know. I think it's a discussion here.
It's a Daimara. It's fun. Yeah, Mojo can hold his own and there. Did struggle when guys would match his physicality some, but Daimara changed the complexities of the way teams would attack this team. Like they were just afraid to go in the paint. You see it with UConn. You can't teach 7-3. He set the Michigan single season blocks record this year, was just an absolute force down there throughout the tournament and is the best shot blocker in Michigan program history.
I think it is Mara, but it is a real conversation because there's games like UConn, the most recent game, where Mara didn't really play to his size and Mojo did. Like when you needed beef in there, there's some games, and I wish it was a little more consistent with Mojo because then I think it's a real discussion. There's some games, not a lot, but there's 2 or 3 games where Mojo disappeared, but he really used his size and bullied guys in there, and he was an integral part of this team. But if you set the single season block record, I think it's got to go to Mara. It's got to go to Mara, but it's a fun discussion.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Mojo is a bum in the inside by any means. Also,
He is not.
You could throw out Yaxel Lindenborg in the paint. You could throw out Roddy Gale in the paint for what they both do on the interior, especially Lindenborg and Roddy Gale help side.
How about Elliot Cadeau and what he does offensively in the paint? Unbelievable at his size.
It's insane, man.
Just the way what he does.
Again, he had a block in this tournament as well. So like on the defensive end, just finding a way to like get it done. And I love the stat I told you off air that for the NCAA tournament, Michigan had 42 blocks to 8 for this run. And that just speaks to everybody doing it.
That should probably be talked about more, honestly. So I'm glad you brought that back up on air because, yeah, 42-8 is insane. And then the Yukon game, what was it, 6-2? Kind of
Yep.
close to those
Yep.
metrics there. So I'm with you there. All right, rewatchable moment of the regular season, something that you want to go back and rewatch. This is a
Does the
tough one. If you don't have it right here,
does the Big Ten tournament count as regular
yeah,
season?
sure, we'll
The
count that.
game winner against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm with you. I will go with the same one. I will also add in early season absolutely dominating Gonzaga and just
Yeah.
running them out and being like, is this the greatest team in the country? Like, is this the best team in the country? So that's my honorable mention. But yeah, the game winner against Wisconsin, man, anytime you get a game winner, that's always going to be something that you remember. But again, we're going to go back and rewatch all these games. There's just too much basketball. With football, you and I can kind of mark the note, like, okay, take a note of this. This could be an unsung moment. With basketball, there's a lot to choose from.
I
So,
mean,
like, there's probably a steal against Wisconsin in some random game that it's like, oh,
like,
remember that Roddy Gale steal? But like,
I
there's a
mean,
lot.
pick your Yaxel Lindeborg fast break dunk. Just take your
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, 100% with you. All right. So the rewatchable moment of the tournament. I love this one. The moment, like when you think back on the tournament, what are you going to want to go back and rewatch? I think I know
This
where you're going.
the sequence.
It's the
It's
sequence.
it's the sequence because how important it was and like in that moment of the game and could talk about the Arizona run and like that's one of the issues with talking about this season as a whole because so many games are just belt to ass for 40 minutes and that's kind of how a lot of the tournament was as well. But the sequence to do what no Michigan team has done in 6 years, 37 years, like is unbelievable.
And we already saw that sequence set to the Titanic music. I was waiting for some
I needed it.
intrepid internet person to do it. It's out there. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to our team bookmark so that we can rewatch that when needed. It's the sequence. Honorable mention goes to Elliot Cadeau. It's over against
Oh,
Alabama. Everything that led to that, was really great. It really was, though. Like, I'm a sicko and I feel weird for saying this. I was kind of glad UConn was a close game because I needed that feeling. Like I
that's
needed to
fair.
feel something again. Michigan had absolutely rolled through the tournament. I never was stressed. And then like solo ball hits that banked in 3-pointer and I'm like I feel once more. I'm still alive.
I hated it. I just wanted to beat the hell out of him, walk
I
out of
know,
there.
I know.
I do think a fun trivia note from this tournament run will be which team scored the most against Michigan in this tournament.
Yeah, the Howard
Howard,
Bison,
80 points.
which they tweeted like as like, look at us, we scored the most
Good
against
for
it.
Howard. You know
Honestly,
what?
fine. I'm
Good for
fine with it.
Howard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no pushback from the
No,
Howard Bison. We're not even
no.
supposed to be there. It's a historically black college as well, right? Like,
That's HB.
is it not? HBCU, yeah, hell yeah, Howard. I've got
Yeah.
no beef with it. I mean, you did show out against Michigan.
Yeah, they made like
Congratulations.
14 threes at that game. Like they got their first ever tournament win. Like
Seriously.
just such a fun little note.
Yeah, absolutely. So, unsung moment from the title game. So, can't choose the sequence here.
Oh, that's a good one. You
And
got
I
one?
think the 4-point play is a little bit, the 4-point trip down the floor is also a little bit too on the nose. So, those are the only two exclusions.
Elliot Cadeau hitting the first three of the game for Michigan.
Love this answer by you. The crowd pop was the biggest of the game.
Crowd just went nuts and it felt like the floodgates had finally opened. It pushed the lead open. It just gave it was like finally that's off our backs now. We can move forward a little bit. It felt like it opened the whole game up for the offense.
That's my answer as well. Not to
Damn it.
steal yours, but I mean, no, but I will give a great honorable mention. The Yaxel Lendeborg chase down block. It's a loud moment, but he was like clearly not himself out there. And then you
Yeah.
get a moment like that that's reminiscent. I mean, people are comparing him to LeBron James jokingly, like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
because he does everything. Like it's in jest a little bit, the Dominican LeBron James. But that chase down block was pretty reminiscent of the 2016 NBA Finals. That was nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And then it showed like, look, this guy's still gonna gut it out, man. Like, but yeah, I think the Cadeau 3, and then with honorable mention to the Yaxel Lendeborg chase down block there. All right, performance you enjoyed the most. I'm gonna open this up to anything in the season, anything in the tournament run. You can go player, you can
Man.
go coach. I want this one to be as wide open as you want. Something that just made you happy as a basketball fan.
I'm gonna go a little broader. Michigan's second half defense against Alabama. The
I like this.
absolute flip of the switch, the .88 purpose. I mean, it was just unbelievable what you could see in that game. And it was everybody. It was everybody getting in on it. Holding the best team in the country to under 30 points and a half is unbelievable. I mean, you could pick any of them. I'm just trying to be a little unique on this one. You could pick any Yaxel game, any McKinney game when they went off, a Roddy game, which I just naturally want to do, and a Diamara game when he just dominates in the paint, which is so much fun when a big is just on one, just blocking everything. All the dunks he can do running to the rim, those are fun. Mojo at Illinois is another fun one. But the second half against Alabama was like, this team has a superpower and they're using it now. And just took that defense to another level and defended as well as any team I've ever seen defend in a half of basketball.
I love it. I love the answer. And yeah, that was the point of this one. You can get as obscure as you want. I'm going to go with Morez Johnson against the Howard Bison. Perfect game. We were really critical of him coming into that for some Big Ten performances where it's like, brother, you're one of the biggest guys out there and you're playing small. And because he was one of my favorites all year, I was very critical and I was like, can't have that. Can't have games off like that. How does he respond? Coming in against the Howard Bison, he goes 8 of 8. He goes 1 of 1 from 3. He has 10 rebounds. He has a steal, a block, and played massive, absolutely massive. And that's why, like, you get some of the Beef Stew comps. Can't shoot like Beef Stew did coming out of Washington. Not really his game. And I think the defense has another level, which is why I'll just say it one more time. One more year. One more year. Come on back, Mojo. But I'll do that because he's just been one of my favorites throughout the year. And I loved that performance of him being like, hey, remember, I am a large human that can do this.
Yeah, I can still get it done. Like, don't forget about me just yet. Don't write me off. And like, again, I think there's just such room for improvement. You see it, like, he didn't shoot a 3 last year at Illinois, shot 34% this year, shot 62% from the free throw line last year, jumped that up to 78. I think you can see the bones of the Beef Stew just kind of melting around in there. It's like, we had a little bit here. So I love this too, just because, I mean, not like you and I are going to hate either pick here. Like, you know what? Terrible pick.
No.
Awful.
Terrible pick.
Try again. Pick another favorite moment. It was so much fun because it was like, okay, he could shake off the bad game, shake off the bad stretch, get back to doing what he does best. Because I think you took it as like a personal affront from after the Illinois game. He just fell off a cliff, and it's like, all right, dude, we kind of need you to make this run here. And it was a return to form. It was a nice reminder in a high scoring type game where he was like, no one's going to stop me in this. And he just went off. Perfect game, literally.
And I fully accept that. Like, if you're talking most important players of this run, he might not be picked until like the 4th pick. I get that. It's just a stylistic thing for me. I just like the way he plays the game of basketball, despite being a big guy that can't shoot and can't really dribble. It's weird. I know I talk out of both sides of my mouth with this sort of thing. I like physicality. I like defense. What do you want from me? Simple man. I like lollipops and butter in my ass.
Also, I mean, it should add a Diamara against Arizona. I mean,
unreal performance.
26-9 with 2 blocks in there.
They took away a block. It was 3 and they took one away. Yeah.
But just like you and I were talking, like, he's going against Krivas. How's he going to do? It's that he can match his size. He's bigger, has a career high, and just completely dominates on the inside. And also, I think the Krivas height and weight were a little exaggerated. Like, on the court, it's like, I don't know if you're quite stacking up out here. And just in the game where you had to have him, where it was going to be physicality, it was this 2-point attack. They're so awesome in the paint. And Michigan just dominated them largely because Mara dominated on the front lines.
A quick NBA aside there, huge sliding doors moment in that game because Krivas was moving up and Mara was kind of holding steady as maybe a late 20s pick. I think that game is going to be very instructional for like the NBA
lucrative
draft.
Is a word.
Yes, I think that Mara made himself some money, thoroughly outplayed Krivas, who was moving up. So if you're an NBA GM and you're drafting that 17, 18, 19, and you're like, we need a center, and those are the 2 guys on the board, that's the tape you're going to look at. So Mara made himself some money. Maybe also, if this, I mean, potentially brings Krivas back for another year, could be a big sliding doors moment with that performance. So that's a great call out by you. All right, couple more here. Player you'll remember when you think back on this season. And before we give that, who's the player, if you had one, when you think back on the 2023 football championship, who do you think of?
Blake Corum. Like
It's the same. I thought it might be different.
it's
I haven't asked you this.
it's Corum or Sainer still to Ben. If you're asking offense or defense, like you think about kind of like, I don't want to sound weird, but like the heart of the team. And it's like it's Corum or it's Sainer still. Some people would say McCarthy maybe, but like it's Corum and Sainer still for me. Corum just
For me.
because coming back from the injury, Sainer still switching positions, having one of the best seasons in Michigan defensive back history. I just it's those guys. But for this team, man, like it's Yaxel Lindenborg. That's it's the difference. Like I kind of like that we've gone through a lot of these superlatives and not mentioned him too much because like you can kind of do that with a star on these teams. But like his just selflessness all year, being a finalist for the Wooden Award, being a first team All American, just doing everything they needed. Like he helped get the team to the Final Four, and then just the team did the rest. Like it's one of the best stories that you could write, just seeing the guys rise up around him. But I mean, throughout this NCAA tournament run, we read the stats off last week. He was on an absolute heater. What was it? Like almost 20 points a game at 68% from the field, 58% from three, with a few assists, a couple rebounds, some block. I mean, just doing
Blocks.
everything, just stuffing the stat sheet. And I love that it ended this way, but he'll be the one I always think of, like his infectious personality, how just unmedia trained he is, how refreshing it is to listen to a human being actually answer a question honestly. Like, how do you feel, Yaxel? Terrible. I have nothing in my leg. I can't go, but I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up on my team. And then even after the game, being like, you know what? I sucked in the second half too, but we found a way to get it done. Like, I'm going to miss that authenticity because it is so rare today.
Look, I'm not going to at all push back. This is so clearly the answer, and it's different from the 2023 national championship team in that, like, there's a couple guys you could throw out there and all would be reasonable. I think it's got to be Axel Lindenborg, man.
Yeah.
And I legitimately was tearing up when they were like, "What do you have to say to like your mom who was working two jobs while you were helping her clean houses?" And
Yep.
and he was like, "I wouldn't be here without you." I'm getting a little emotional right now as a
Yeah.
man who loves his mother. Outstanding stuff. Genuine guy, and we can speak to this a little bit. He was gonna come on the pod. Not something I usually really reveal, but like just because of how kind and decent he was in those interactions when we were like trying to figure out a time to get him on the pod, he was a gentleman about the
Yes.
whole thing and like just an absolute legitimately nice guy. Everything you hear about him, the way he conducts himself, he's my favorite transfer of all time. He's
Easy.
ahead of Franz Wagner. It's really him and Trey Burke for my favorite basketball players of all time. And I'm going to have a real think about it
Yeah.
this offseason. Like he's more my style of play because he's so well rounded and he can do so much. And his defense was felt even when the shot wasn't dropping. It's Yaxel Lendenborg, man, just an
Mm.
all timer at Michigan. And we just got to get used to the fact that there's going to be transfers that come in and make a name for themselves and become Michigan men in the span of a year. And I know Michigan's kind of weird about that. Like it takes time and you got to do things the right way. That annoys me a little bit. Yaxel Lendenborg, to me, in what my heart is a Michigan man, like a
Yeah.
good, decent dude that wants to do it the right way and competes and shows up to practice and wants to get better. That's a Michigan man to me. So
You
shout
and
out
I
to you, Yax.
we had this discussion in the offseason or like when the hiring was going on with like Kyle Whittingham, like being a Michigan man isn't going to Michigan. It's how you conduct yourself day to day with integrity. Kyle Whittingham's been a Michigan man his whole life just by the way
Yep.
he's lived and coming here now.
Yep.
Like so many coaches weren't Michigan men before they worked there. And these players, Yassel Lindenborg has always been that way. Like just such a unique soul, so genuine, so open. And we've had interactions, good interactions and bad interactions with famous people in the Michigan community. Not going to reveal that because that's not how we do things here. But Yaxel he was just always so nice. Like it fell through, but he was incredible the whole time. So nice to just like
He apologized to me that he couldn't make it. He reached out to me, was like, "Sorry, I can't make it." I'm like, "Dude, that's all good. I understand you're a little busy."
for no reason and like didn't have to do that, but it's just so authentic. Like he is just such like an easy person to root for, such a good kid, such a good head on his shoulders. And when you think about some of the numbers in terms of like not statistics, but like didn't pick up a play organized basketball till he was 15, hadn't played out of the paint, out of the post until this year. It's kind of hard to put a ceiling on his NBA career. Like you and I discussed before, like he could be third option, like a good third option, maybe fourth on a team. And now it's like, how good can he be, especially as a two-way player?
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And a segment we'll save for another time because we're going a little long here is the Michigan Athlete Likability Index. Because you need to be a prominent player. You need to be, in the headlines, but then also be like very likable. Because I mean, I'm sure there's guys that never see the floor that are extremely likable. Does that
Yeah.
really matter? No offense to you. But to be like the best player on the team and be that likable, he's up there with like the Hutchinsons of
Yeah.
the world, man. Like that's how likable he is and how good of a dude he is. I'm with you, man. We'll come back to that on another podcast. All right, last two awards here. When you think back on this season, moment of the season. Is it the sequence again?
I think that would be the first one, but honestly, what I'm gonna remember are the post-game interviews when
Mm,
everyone's there standing behind Dusty, staring into the camera, because that's who this team is. Like, I don't wanna pick out one play, one player of this. I'm just gonna think about, like, not to be cliche, the team. Like, everyone on this team was so likable, so memorable, like, just going down the roster. Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna forget the 9 deep on this team, like, mentioning LJ Kaysen in there as well, because, like,
shout
with the
out.
with the 2018 team, it's like, okay, I'm getting down a little bit. There's Mo Wagner, Gordon Poole. It's like you get down, but like outside the starting five, it gets tough. But with this team, I'm always going to remember that top nine, maybe even deeper if I'm on an Oscar Goodman good kind of day. But like, I'm going to remember Dusty May. I'm going to remember this group together and those interviews.
Malik Cordell, the Yellow King. We had some
Yep.
great moments. I
Yep.
will remember you. Could be a player next year. I'd be
Could be.
interested to see. The sequence for me will win it. My honorable mention will be the bit of staring into the camera during the
So
post
good.
game interviews.
So
It
good.
just showed how the chemistry was, that Dusty May's just a guy. Like he's an elite coach, but he's a dude. Seems like a great hang. I'm not even sure if he drinks beer, but all time beer kind of guy. Well, maybe we'll have something there on your side of the house if you can give me some insight into that as well. But I just love the chemistry and those post game interviews for me. Something I'm going to remember.
Oh, also, another thing I'm going to remember from this team is Dusty May walking out in front of the Michigan State fans
Yes, tremendous call.
at
We got so many
Breslin.
memes from it.
At
Yeah,
Breslin, and then he's like, "I'm
not
not
ducking
ducking the
that smoke.
smoke," just sitting there, arm up, taking in the moment, like, that's
Well
another
done.
one. That's why the team is the way that they are, because that's the head coach. I don't know if we talked about Dusty May enough on the podcast. We're gonna have hopefully several more years to do so, but that's the mentality. This team was never ducking the smoke.
At least one more year with him.
Yep.
So yeah, all-time legend for us. All right, last superlative. One hot take can be about this team, can be about next year's team, wherever you want to go.
We've already said we think this is the best team of all time.
Yep.
I don't know if we can hide behind that. Oh, man, you got one? I'll let you go first on this one.
Trey McKinney will move himself into the top 10 of next year's NBA draft. I
Oh,
think Trey
that's
McKinney has NBA skills, and his improvement from the start of the Big Ten tournament to the end of the NCAA tournament should be studied. I have notes about his defense in that final game, and we were calling him a liability. We were laughing about him on defense, and he made defensive plays against UConn. His buy-in, the shot making ability, look, freshmen in high leverage situations
mm,
in football games don't love it. In basketball games, usually don't love it, but there's one key thing. They don't even understand the stakes. And
yeah.
I love that. Trey McKinney didn't even understand the stakes. He's like, yeah, I'll take a spinning turnaround, step back two-pointer from the free throw line and can it. I will absolutely can this shot in this insane, ridiculous sequence with high stakes across the board. I love him. I think that next year's draft class is lower. I think he's got a real chance to move up next year with a big year. Now he's surrounded by great guards. McCoy coming in, Cadeau coming in. How does that work? Can you play McKinney, Cadeau together? Possibly because McKinney can shoot. I'm interested to see it, but I think he could really rise up. I think he is the guy that you're looking at as the next best pro. I'll make my take a little hotter. I think he'll be the best pro of the group. Well, no. Yaxel will. Yaxel's going to stuff the stat sheet. I'll take it down a little bit. I'll go behind Yaxel of the guys that we're talking about. I think it's him.
If Dusty May is at Michigan for 10 total seasons, he leaves as the best coach all sports.
All sports.
All sports.
I
Yep.
agree, because do you have Harbaugh over Schembechler?
It's so tough, man, comparing the eras and Schembechler's crazy win rate and like some of those years. It's on a Monday, I'm probably going to say Harbaugh, but on a Tuesday, I might say Schembechler, like back and forth there. But the one thing you can easily hold over Schembechler's head is, besides some other issues, is championships. No matter how it played out, like never got the one. And it's like Dusty already has the one. No basketball coach has more than two because hell, there's only been two ever. So if like he could already do that, and then like, I mean, think Harbaugh has one, Carr has one, and then you got to go back to Oosterbahn 48, then Chrysler 47. So it's like a long time. So if Dusty could get two, I mean, Red Berenson had two for the hockey team. So that's probably your next argument. 11 Frozen Fours, I believe. So that's where you're getting in 10 years. Could Dusty May have 3 titles? I'm not ruling that out.
Even if he doesn't get the titles, what if there's 2 more Final Four appearances over the next 8 years?
The high
That
level
might be
consistency.
enough.
That's what you're really looking for. No drop off, because that's the Schembechler argument. With Harbaugh, if you want to go anti, you could go the 2020 season. Like
I don't accept that argument. I don't. Too weird. Too weird.
It's weird, or you want to go the Ohio State record or something like that, which is fair to poke
That
holes
would
at
be
the
a better
beginning. Biggest
argument,
loss
yeah.
early on, things like that. I mean, not to mention obviously scandals. Like that's also if you're going for the negative, like that's where you could go with that. If Dusty May is head above board, 3
Without
titles,
scandals,
couple Final Fours, like, I mean, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, man, this is gonna happen. Let alone be a hot take.
probably it's likely to happen. But when you get title in year 2, it's likely to happen, dude. That's insane stuff.
Well, also, what did I tell you when Dusty May was hired? It was the Curt Cignetti argument. This guy has never had a losing season as a head coach.
No.
That matters at all levels.
That's why you like the Ben McCollum move for North Carolina more than the Michael Malone, man. You see a coach coming up like that, you got to grab him. And Ward Manuel probably saved his job with this one. I don't think you can fire him as much as you and I probably will never be fans. You got Dusty May, man. You got Dusty May.
You got
So
Dusty May. You kind of backed into Nerado. You've kept KBA around. It's like, and you got you backed into Kyle Whittingham.
I think Whittingham's gonna. I don't know what he'll win, but he's going to win more games than he loses. I can promise you that.
Exactly. So yeah, this was the icing on the cake, that it was like Dusty May getting hits. I mean, how many jobs did he save? I don't know. We may never know the numbers on that. Certainly saved ours for another couple years. So yeah, I think we're seeing the beginning of it. It's not like the Jawan thing when it's winning with other people's pieces either. Like, this feels sustainable despite being a transfer portal type of world.
Yeah. Did he save our jobs? No. But did he keep us engaged? You know, we're getting older. You got a kid on the way. I'm out of the country a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe if we don't win this one, maybe if we don't win the 2023 in this national championship, maybe we lose interest. But now I'm invigorated. I'm ready to keep talking about this team. My love of sports has returned. So shout out to you, Dusty May. Shout out to the 2025, 2026 national champions, Michigan Wolverines. Love this team. We will talk about them on this podcast in future episodes. Before we get out of here, we got to talk one little football nugget before we go. And this is due to, it's time to turn the page. No doubt about it. We're not fully going to do that. The spring game draft for us will be next week, brother. I got some work to do. And this was something I came up with when I was trying to rank the players for this. And I think it's something very unique about this team, that a lot of unknowns on both sides of the ball. So the question is, before we get out of here, how many players on this 2026 Michigan football team can we realistically say could potentially be the best player?
10? Maybe 10?
I think it's more than any other team in, like, last year's team, for comparison, coming in. How many players could have possibly been the best player on last year's team? It was like Bryce Underwood, Jordan Marshall,
Justice Haynes,
Derek Moore, Justice Haynes. It was a lower number. I don't think Bryce Underwood even should have been counted as a freshman.
I don't think he would have been counted on that one. Let's just draft him. Do you want to draft him?
It up.
Little warm up. Do you want first pick?
This is dangerous. This is dangerous. This is gonna give some insight into your spring game board. Yes, the most likely player to be the best on this team, I'll take Bryce Underwood. Because of the position. Obviously, you can tell I don't feel great about it because it wasn't great last year, and the turnovers and everything that went with it. But now he has a full-time position coach. He's going to touch the ball more than any of these other guys. He has the greatest opportunity to really rise. So I'll take Bryce Underwood first pick.
I'm going to take John Henry Daly, the only All-American on this team. He was a
That's who I
first-team
wanted to
All-American
take.
last year at Utah, finished last season with 11 and a half sacks, 12 and a half sacks, 18 and a half tackles for loss. Expect to be fully healthy. He has the proven pedigree. He's going to have a great opportunity to do it. I think John Henry Daly.
So I wanted to take. I will go Rod Moore next. If he is healthy, if he's coming back from that knee, obviously it is all contingent on that. If he is healthy, he's probably the favorite. If a report were to come out tomorrow that Rod Moore is better than ever and he is fully healthy, would he be your number one?
Still be John Henry Daly.
Still be John Henry, more impactful at the edge
Rod
rusher
Moore
position.
has never been higher than third team All Big Ten, as blasphemous as it seems.
Yes, but I mean, with the pedigree of what he's done and how impactful he could have a Brian Branch like impact. I could easily see it. I'll go Rod Moore third.
Yeah, I'm not going to disparage Rod Moore here.
I know where you're
podcast.
I know the next pick. I know it. I'll make it for you. Yeah, let's go. I was getting ready to make it for you.
Way too long to be. Jordan Marshall's going to eat carries on this team. Is, I mean, almost a lock to go over 1,000 yards next season. Going to be an absolute force on this team. Just, I mean, the numbers alone, the touches alone, the physicality he brings. Like Jordan Marshall feels like he might be the safest pick of everybody we've named so far, because John Henry Daly, Rod Moore, both coming off injuries, and Bryce Underwood, rising sophomore, a lot of unknown.
No notes. I knew you were going there. It was the most certain thing on the planet. Next up, I'll bet you can make my pick for me. I'll bet you can make my pick. Make it.
Andrew Marsh.
Come on now. I know you. I know my boy. We've been podcasting for a minute. It's Andrew Marsh up next. Easily could be the best player on the team. There's an argument he was the best player on last year's team.
Yeah.
A reasonable argument. So I don't think I need to stretch too far for this one. Andrew Marsh is a stud. Can Bryce Underwood get him the ball enough to make him the best overall player on the team? That's the only question.
Next pick, this is going to be a little interesting. I'm going to go with Zeke Berry. Second team all conference last season, entering his third year starting in the secondary. Rumors are he's moving to nickel and Jay Hill's defense. I think he's going to thrive in this position, and we could be in for another leap because he's only gotten better year in and year out since he became a starter.
Love this. I also had Jair Hill there because Jair Hill remains quite good and still has another level to go up. Berry has leaped over him, but not by a dramatic amount. It's still pretty close, in my opinion. Berry's better, but Hill is very good. So I had both of them there, but I had it Berry Hill. I'm with you there. How about Andy Babs as my next pick? Andrew Balbaloa, the presumed left tackle, all-world 5-star recruit coming back off of a knee injury. Sounds like he's ready to go and sounds like he is the player that we expect. That would be huge for this team. If Andy Babs, of all these players that we've mentioned, Bryce Underwood is number one pick as far as like who you would want to be the best because they're going to touch the ball every time. But would Andy Babs be second? Like if he hits, how big is it for this team? Pretty big.
Final pick for me, Savion Hyder.
Nah.
I'm going with the explosive upside, the Adrian Peterson-like arrival where it's undeniable. Like he's just that good right away. He has to get the touches, has the explosion, just everything we've seen about him. I mean, I'm over leveraged on my Savion Hyder stock. Like I'm going to have to sell my house. Like we are both over leveraged. He has that potential. And if like talking about like the 8th player we're drafting here, or 7th player, wherever we're at in our list, Savion Hyder feels like a good bet.
I'm with you. I had him on the list as well. Some honorable mentions here. One from Tony. JJ Buchanan. I don't think it's that far-fetched. I think that's a really good call out by Tony there as well. A tight end you added because they didn't take one in the transfer portal. Could there be a really good tight end sitting in plain sight? Zach Marshall. I'm looking at you. And for my over-leveraged stock, this is the out of the blue, why we named the podcast this pick, Owusu Boateng. It requires a massive, massive, massive leap. Like, in what world does he get better than even Rod Moore? I don't know if I see it this year, but whatever. I'm already over leveraged. It's like once you've dug too deep, what else can you do but dig deeper?
I love this. Yeah. Once you back a guy, you're not backing down. Hell, you and I were backing TJ Guy when he got buried on the bench in 22. We're like, he's coming. I promise you, he's going to hit. And eventually we got some ball bets. So I love this. Again, you're looking at a high ceiling type players like a Savion Hyder. That's who you roll the dice on.
We will make our official predictions next week during the spring game draft. I really hope your son just understands the moment. Hold out just a little bit more. We got one more, and then you're going to be gone for a little bit. We've got some guest hosts that'll be coming in, some exciting podcasts. We may do a one for me in there or one for us in there because you're gone. So you might have to listen to me talk about The Departed, a wonderful film by Martin Scorsese starring Leonardo DiCaprio. But we're into the offseason now, depending on what happens with hockey, of course. If hockey wins a national championship, your son may just have to understand that you got to do a podcast.
We're going to have spring game draft and hockey national championship on the same episode.
It's insane stuff happening right now. And there's really never a good time. The really only off season for us is like June, July. Yep. But I understand. You did what you had to do. The sun must cometh. The chosen one, excited for you, brother. Excited for the fact that we are national champions in a different sport once again. Thank you to all of our listeners, everyone that's been with us this entire time. It's been a privilege. It's truly been a privilege to be able to talk about some of the best sports in our lifetime for our favorite teams. Really enjoy it. And big things coming again this year as we switch the calendar over. Not done yet. Let's keep an eye on hockey. Spring game draft is next week. Of all the shows that we would want you to tune into, I think that's the one that I personally would push. I think it's a great one to really understand what's going on with this roster. Sklar Brothers will be back in May. Excited for that. Couple other guests coming on. It's been awesome, brother. It's been awesome. Anything else from you?
You hit the nail on the head, man. Can't wait to be back doing it with you next week. And again, if there's ever a podcast to listen to, it's got to be the spring draft, and it's going to feel even better doing it as basketball national champions.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us on Out of the Blue. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, give us a positive review. We certainly appreciate it. I'm Jared. That's Andy. Thanks to producer Tony. We'd like to remind you that wherever you go, especially when you're celebrating a damn national championship, you go blue.